Long time no see. I don't know really what it was to drive me back to making another YouTube video. It's been months and months. I think we started our podcast in January of 2025. I put up a video probably in December, I think it was, saying that I was officially done with it. And we went on and we started a podcast, right? We started Beyond the Blood, which has been incredible. We're only a couple weeks away from releasing our season 1 finale of that podcast. And I have a very tight circle of friends in this space who for months have been asking nicely if I've ever kind of gotten that itch to get back to posting on here again. And it was kind of like a yeah, no, and I wanted to figure out a way to do it that did not pressure me to like feel obligated to have to like go all out, right? I originally had this idea of like this complex return video and it was gonna be really cinematic and all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, I started filming it and I was like, nah, I'm not really into that, not right now. So but the other day I was like, man, I would love to just have a place where I can set up and talk about a couple movies I've been watching. Not reviewing. I'm not a reviewer. I'm not doing reviews. You might hear me mention the quality of something, maybe something about the restoration, but they're not reviews. I just want to chat with you guys, if anybody's even still subscribed to me, about movies. So I figured I would take the opportunity to do that here, right? So I guess you can call it the return of Bearded Film Guy to YouTube. Vlog number 1. Do I even still have an intro? I don't know. Now, I don't want to commit myself to any sort of frequency of video posting. Once I watch kind of a set amount of movies, I'm going to come on and talk about some of them. Like today I have five boutique titles that I've watched, taken a plunge into, watch the bonus features, read the books, read your booklets. So I just thought like, just come on and kind of chat. It's a really rainy day here in New Jersey, and right out the window to my right, it's pretty miserable. So this feels good. Comfortable hoodie on, the whole thing. So to start vlog 1 or the return, I don't know. I've been doing a ton of research on Tony Maylam's The Burning from 1981. On our podcast, Beyond the Blood, myself and my co-host Chuck and Steve, we break down movies using their audio commentaries supplied on the physical media releases. For the end of season 1, we thought, hey, we have to do some sort of campground summer slasher, so we picked The Burning. And on this release, on actually both of these, whether you have the Blu-ray or the 4K here from Scream Factory, there is a audio commentary with director Tony Maylam, and it is moderated by journalist Alan Jones, who does a fantastic job, by the way. Like, Alan Jones is incredible at moderating this. It's a good commentary. We did a really fun 2-hour episode with Mark from Tales from the Shelf breaking down this movie, and it's very surface level, so we didn't get as in-depth as we did on previous movies or as we're going to in further seasons of the show. But I love The Burning. There's some fantastic Savini effects in this. You can kind of re-edit this movie to just be like a campground sex drama, and it's kind of works kind of without Cropsy. We kind of changed the name. But I had a lot of fun with this. We spent the last month conducting research on this for that episode that comes out on June 1st. So if you're a podcast fan, go and check that out. This is kind of the thing I've been obsessing over for the last 40 days since our Pet Sematary 2 episode dropped. So it's been a long time. But I have a cool list here. I have 4 boutique titles that I've been watching from Actually, no, one is not a boutique title, but I have a good variety. Little here, some stuff I've been watching. I don't work with any boutique labels. They don't send me anything. Nothing that I do is attached to anybody except the movie room. I've been working with the movie room now for a couple months. They are simply a boutique or an online store like an Orbit or a Diabolic. Very small. It is run by Mike and his wife. They run it out of their garage. I partnered with them because I ordered a couple times and loved everything that they were doing. I love what they represent. I love the work ethic and just supporting small business. So I do have a code for them that I'll bring up when I get to the title that I received from them. But other than that, there's no other titles, anything like that attached to anything in the video. So, Short Night of Glass Dolls from Celluloid Dreams. This is their second release as a label. The first was The Case of the Bloody Iris, which they also did on 4K. Before I talk about this movie, I do want to send you in the direction of Heath's channel, Serial at Midnight. He did an incredible, I think it was the second interview with the duo that is behind Celluloid Dreams, and these two people are responsible for the restorations. They're doing everything, the bonus features, everything that you see in their releases. So this is their second title, Short Night of Glass Dolls. Let's look at this real quick. Sorry for any reflection. This comes in a nice hard box. This is the first time they're doing the hard box thing, which is awesome. And this is a jam-packed release. I mean, it's got a book. Oh, I got stuff falling out all over the place. It's kind of a little crazy in here. So Short Night of Glass Dolls is a giallo thriller from 1971 directed by Aldo Lado, who most noticeably also directed Night Train Murders. And this tells the story of basically a lifeless body is found, and we find out that essentially he's not dead, and we begin in flashbacks to kind of see this unfolding of events about a missing woman who led to essentially this body being discovered. And it's very, what's the term I'm looking for here? Aldo Lado as a director is not into the excess. That's really not his thing. At this time in the early 70s, giallo was violent. It was incredibly visual. It was like known for its style, and a lot of that visual style is here, but it feels much more upper class, I guess you can say. It's not as excessive in its coloring. It's not as excessive in the production design. What you get here is a very clean, very professional, extremely mature giallo thriller. You have this investigation, and along the way there's many interesting characters that get in the way. And as the story unfolds, I've seen a lot of people kind of claim this movie as slow. Nothing happened. I know my buddy Jordan at the Movie Den said he got like, the first time he watched it, he hated it. So you can't go into this movie with any sort of preset expectations. But everything pays off so well when you reach the ending. The reveal of what's happening and what's been going on this whole movie is like the definition of batshit crazy. I mean, totally. And the final moments of the movie are some of the most intense minutes you're going to experience in a 1971 giallo that feels totally original. It's crazy. This movie has two endings, and both are just as wild as the other. The 4K restoration from Celluloid Dreams is incredible. It still keeps a very filmic look. I promise you're going to get this. You're not going to be disappointed with the visual. More so, just happy to actually own this in a nice release. Like I said, it comes with the hard box, but you also have, for the first time from Celluloid Dreams, a booklet, which these are always my favorite. And the thing I love about this booklet right here is, I'm just going to kind of show you how this is structured in here. What's interesting is that you get a little bit of background on Aldo Lado's career through a retrospective writing. And anytime, I love booklets, right? That's what I do. I read booklets. But sometimes I just find myself having to stop after a couple pages and kind of go like step away from it, think about what I just read, really kind of learn it and make sure it settles, and then go back, because you get so much information, especially on a filmmaker like Otto Lotto, who I'm not familiar with. So, it's a very, very, very journalistic approach to write-ups, which you're getting in that booklet in here. But I'm super happy that Celluloid Dreams is leaning in this direction. I hope moving forward we're getting these hard box releases more. I know we have Black Belly of the Tarantula coming up. I mentioned this was a 4K, right? So this was such a pleasure to get. I ordered this day one. It's been months since I ordered this. I was so excited. So Short Night of Glass Dolls. Check out Celluloid Dreams. Support those guys, especially if you're into giallo thrillers, for sure. So next up, we have a Second Sight Films title here, and that is The Coffee Table. I think this is from 2022 or 2023. I have to check. I don't even know what year we're in now. Doesn't say. I think it's 2022. Okay. And this is the one title that I did get from the Movie Room. If you go over to themovieroom.com, you use code BEARDED10, you're going to get 10% off anything from them. I promise you, it's the best shipping experience you'll ever go through in your life. They package it so well, so well. But this was one I was kind of on the fence with. I had ordered House of the Devil immediately, and then slowly falling more in love with Second Sight Films and what they do. And I figured I have to get this. People have been talking about this movie. I heard about this movie way back when it initially came out on VOD, about how intense and how dramatic and how crazy this movie was. But it kind of feels like that's what every horror movie is nowadays. Every single one is like the scariest thing you've ever seen. So, we reach that point where you have to tamper expectations. But The Coffee Table was an experience, is the way that I would put it. It's not long. It's less than 90 minutes. Technically, it's like 88 minutes. And this tells a single day story in the life of a married couple with a recent child, and the events in their life that unfold after the purchase of a coffee table. Sounds simple. That's the plot, right? I'm not going to spoil to you the events that happen, because I'm not going to do you like that. But yeah. And what I wasn't expecting going in was to get one of the funniest black comedies I have seen in a long, long time. This movie, you can explain it in two ways, right? I've told people, like, hey, it's a nightmare. And it is. It unfolds in what is basically real time. It's so nerve-wracking. I had a pillow on my chest that I was holding for comfort, and I was like squeezing it. There were moments in this movie that were incredibly tense, right? But then you're laughing out of certain things, out of certain characters' mannerisms, and out of just how the situation is playing out. And you feel bad for laughing, but you kind of have to as a release sometimes, which is something that's written up in the book featured in this. You have that, like, you're just so tense, you have to kind of relieve it by laughing. And that's sort of what the experience with The Coffee Table is like. It is graphically obscure in its approach to storytelling, and it is a story about parenthood, about the roles of a father, the roles of a mother, and what happens when those kind of get put on the most extreme circumstances, right? And a lot of that is broken down in the book that's featured in this. There's a running joke in my friends group chat that I am the bearded booklet guy, because I'm always encouraging people to read their booklets. But how big is this thing? You have 113 pages. This isn't a booklet. This is a book, okay? And this features a ton of great write-ups. I want to make sure I get an actual count for you. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 write-ups in this about the movie. But one in particular really struck me in a way that I was not expecting. And that is, let's see where it's at in here. Furnishings, blood and guilt, domestically prayer. They made every little decision. Oh, it was Blood and Guilt by Joe Lipset. The death of something in the coffee table. I don't want to ruin it. One thing I love so much about booklets is how they kind of allow you to reshape what you just saw unfold on screen. You know, we watch movies and then we have a tendency to like go right on the letterbox and give our rating, and then we kind of forget about the movie. We're moving on to what's next. I don't believe in that. I think that movies should sit with us, and I think the events in this movie will sit with you in a heavy manner. But I think more so it's a movie that you really need to give time before you give your assessment on. And the booklet that comes in the second sight release does a great job at kind of helping you frame what you just saw and kind of like make sense of some things, bring some new light to things. And I think that's the power of a booklet like this that I love so much. This is a Blu-ray release from Second Sight Films. This is not a 4K. I don't really see a reason this movie would need a 4K. But to be given this deluxe treatment is incredible. A lot of people discovered this movie because of the Second Sight release. So the legacy lives on. There is a couple of interviews on the disc as well that are very, very good. But I think the booklet and the movie itself clearly is a highlight of picking up this release. So this is still available. I still see it for sale a bunch of places. Love the gotta cover up the face of it. Love the artwork on that. So Second Sight Films, The Coffee Table. Very happy I ended up picking it up because I wasn't gonna. And I spent my money. So if you've been following me for a long time, you know I'm not a steelbook collector. I will rather not buy a title, looking at you, Sony, on upgrading a title to 4K. I would rather not own it than buy a steelbook and pay the prices for steelbooks. I just don't. It's not my market, right? It's just not my thing. They get damaged really easily. You get charged a premium for really not getting much else. I think it's just kind of something studios are leaning in on to make some extra bucks, right? That's just my opinion, right? I have friends who are steelbook collectors. I follow a lot and I love them. They're great. It's not my style. But the UK limited edition collectors releases that feature the steelbook are my style. Don't ask me to explain it. I don't know why. And this week I watched Joel Schumacher's The Lost Boys. This is the UK limited edition with the steelbook. Pull this out, and then I think this is the steelbook that was the US release. So it's that one right there. And the reason I kind of want to just bring this up is because I still to this day think that this is a perfect movie. I know Garrett from Bored to Be Rad loves this movie so much. Every time I come back and I've watched this, which has been hundreds of times, mind you, I could just put this on at any time. I find something else that I love more and more and more about it. Joel Schumacher brings such a sense of style and icon to this film. This film feels ageless. It never feels old. It never feels like a sign of the times, a product of that era. And that's what I love so much. And still to this day, like, we do not get vampire films that even hold a candle to this. You just don't. We can't. I don't know why. I don't know what it is that makes this on its own, kind of like its own mountain. It can't be touched. And I feel like there's a lot of vampire films that try to capture this vibe, like that fun, rebellious, side to the vampire story, and still none of them touch it like The Lost Boys. So I threw this on the other night. This is the 4K. It's a beautiful transfer, and I threw it on. I got about an hour in and I was like, God damn, man, this movie's so good. So when I was kind of figuring out what I was going to talk about today, I was like, I just got to talk about The Lost Boys. How can you not? All right, so I'm going to round this out with something most people on here probably aren't going to be interested in, but that's okay. I also got this from the movie room. I recently picked up Bullets and Betrayal box set from Arrow Video. And this is the V Cinema Essentials Volume 1. I hope we get more. But this box set has, 8 films in it that are part of the Japanese V Cinema line, which was essentially direct-to-video action films with the idea that you don't have to fast forward through them. Japanese audiences at this time, with the boom of the video store, were renting movies, and they were watching like 5-6 movies a night because they were fast forwarding through all the stuff they didn't want to see and just kind of clicking play on the action, and action in multiple forms. And what developed was this unique and impactful line of direct-to-video films, which I think it's in the hundreds, I think. And Arrow Video has compiled 8 of them together, right? It was 8, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them together for this box set. And I know nothing about these. So I figured, let me pick this up. It was a great price. It was like $70. And let me see if I can get into them. And I have. So I've watched 4 of these so far. And I'll put my ranking somewhere over here of them on Letterboxd. I think so far, Crime Hunter Bullets of Rage has been my favorite, though Neo Chimpira Zoom Goes a Bullet has been one I haven't been able to get off my mind, so I think I'm going to shift that up and down. But I did watch Carlos just the other day, and let me see if this has a date on it. I don't believe it does. For this one in particular, 1991, I think it says on here, right? Yeah, 1991. And Carlos tells the story of an arms deal gone wrong, essentially. And we follow this, I want to say he is, let's see, Brazilian. Yes, he is a Brazilian Japanese gangster who's kind of like low-key doing his own thing, and he gets involved in this war, essentially, this Yakuza war, and it begins to kind of spiral out of control. And it's a very good Japanese Yakuza gangster movie in its own sense. I actually love the character of Carlos. I think he's so different from what you typically get, and he kind of like shakes things up because this movie kind of takes on prejudice head on, which was something that was very, very current in Japan at this time, and it's never talked about because Japanese culture just kind of like hid it away. They were like, yeah, it doesn't happen here, but it was, and it was happening, and it's portrayed in this movie especially. What's most iconic about this movie, though, is the level of violence. There's not a ton of action in it. It's a little bit more of a slow burn, but the violence that does happen is explosive. It's very graphic, and it kind of kicked off a unique time in Japanese action movies for excessive violence, for gratuitous violence. Somebody gets shot and the whole wall is covered in blood. You know what I mean? So this was considered excessive at the time, but very groundbreaking into what would occur in Japanese action cinema, you know, moving forward from then on. There are great intros in this by Japanese film critic Masaki Tanioka. He does like 4 to 5 minute introductions before every movie, and it kind of lays like a nice, it sets up your expectations for how to frame the movie when you're watching it. And he talked about how influential this was, probably one of the most influential in the whole V Cinema line. But it kind of seems like every movie in its own way incorporated something into the what would become the bloodline of the V Cinema action movies. I don't know where Carlos is on the ranking. I can't remember. That's when I put it in my letterbox. I think it's pretty high of the 4 movies I've watched so far. But if you're a fan of action movies in general, pick up this set. Check it out. It's called Bullets and Betrayal. V Cinema presents. There's some great titles in here. Give it a chance. If you don't like it, that's okay. Sell it. Make a couple dollars, or get some of that money back. I think people would appreciate that. But yeah, my last watch to talk about is Carlos. Yeah, that's what I've been watching. Let me know what you think of this style. I've been really inspired lately by guys like Elliot Cohen, who I absolutely admire on the platform. As always, all of my friends pushing me to get back and doing this. I will say I enjoyed recording this. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe there might be more. I'm hoping there's more, right? But let me know down below what you think. Give me a heads up as far as if you like this style, and if you want me to just not come back, let me know. I'll just stay away. No, I'm just kidding. Do me a favor, guys. Go and check out Beyond the Blood podcast. It is available on all the podcast platforms. It is available everywhere as of now. At least it should be. If it's not, let me know. I got to figure out how to fix that. We have some huge news coming up in the next couple of weeks about the direction of the podcast. And yeah, follow me on Instagram. I'm Bearded Film Guy. I'm always there talking about movies. I'm always open to be chatting about movies, so shoot me a message. Let's talk about booklets. I love that. Let's talk about interviews. Let's talk about behind the scenes. Let's talk about movies. Yeah. It's fun, right? This is what we do this for. So, thanks guys for hanging out. Maybe I'll see you again.